I need some light. Mm. Good morning. Oh my head. What is that? Anyway, good morning. How is everybody? I just getting myself ready for the day. Ready for the day. Okay, that's what I'm doing right now. I did not sleep that well again. I did not sleep that well at all. So here I am. I would have gotten up here earlier, but I really didn't feel like getting up. I don't know. But anyway, today is Wednesday. Hey Isabella, hey Earl. How y'all doing? How is everybody doing on this Wednesday morning? Yesterday, we did pros and cons of living with a man. So if you came to that live stream, thank you. But what was I gonna say? Today's live stream is just anything goes, I guess. I don't have an agenda today. If you want to update on my car that got stolen, it's still stolen. So whoever's still riding around in my car, you've had your fun. Bring my car back. This stuff smells so good. If you want a summer glow, this stuff right here, this the Nessa Myrick, this is it right here. This is it. I love this stuff. I don't know what you're really supposed to use it for, to be honest. The girls use it as something to put under their foundation. I don't understand why would you want to put this under your foundation when it's supposed to make you hydrated looking. Why would you want to put this under your foundation? I don't know. Because then wouldn't that make your foundation look wet or something? I don't know, but I wouldn't put it under my foundation. But I think I have before. I'm not sure. I don't know. But anyway, a lot going on in the world. I know you guys have been watching State of the Unions and watching all the political stuff, political news, and all the updates and all that kind of stuff. And today, try to take a break from some of that stuff. Try to take a break, a mental break from some of that energy out there. You know, don't look at that stuff too much all the time, because it can mess with your mind, mess with your mental. Go do something else for a while. You can always go back to all that political stuff and all whatever's going on in the world, because you need to stay informed. You don't need to be one of those people out there. They ask them, so what do you think about what's going on? They say, oh, I don't know what's going on. Don't be one of those people that never know what the hell going on. Always be informed, but take little breaks here and there from absorbing so much of this craziness and all this stuff that's going on. Take a break from some of that, because it can be overwhelming for your mind. I take breaks from it. I make sure I'm informed about the news and whatever's going on, but I take breaks. I go watch a movie, or go watch a TV show. I've been watching that Attack on Titans. I'll go do that. I'll go cook something, create something, write something to add to my Substack. If you haven't joined my Substack, you should join and read some of the articles that I've written. That's what I do in my spare time, besides sitting here absorbing all the craziness that's going on in the world. You know what I mean? I do that. And then proactively, I just don't consume and buy a lot of stuff like I used to. I used to buy a lot of stuff from Amazon. And once I realized what Amazon is about, I don't buy that kind of stuff. I don't buy from Amazon. I've cut down on my spending as being proactive against the things that are going on in the world. So I stopped spending as much money. No, I didn't join no army. What army am I joining at this size? The plus size army? There ain't no plus size army. I tried to join the army when I was a teenager, and they told me I was 25 pounds overweight. I was 17, and I tried to join the army, and they told me I was 25 pounds overweight. Man told me, well, lose the 25 pounds and come back. You should have took me then. They should have took me when I was 25 pounds overweight. They could have easily burned that off. I could have easily burned that off in training. But they didn't take a chance on me. They shout out to the army. You lost a good one. I could have been a good soldier or anything. As chef in the army, that's what I'm talking about. I could have been a good army. I could have been a sergeant and a chef all at the same time. I could have been on my G.I. Jane if the army would have just let me in, just because I was 25 pounds overweight. They could have let me in. I could have been running around, doing all kind of stuff. But the army tried to kill my shine. They tried to kill my shine. I could have been a soldier out here. Eat all the meat pies. Do nobody want to eat that? 20 years in the army, you said for that's what I think. I think the army is it's a good and a bad thing. It's what you go to war for. I don't agree about going to war and all that kind of stuff, but you know, as a protection for the people, for your people, I think it's a good thing if you are protecting your people. I think that's a good thing. But going to war just to be going to war, I don't think that's a good thing. But um the benefits, the long-term benefits, you get to go to school for free, you get housing, you know, your housing is paid for, so you don't have to worry about housing and stuff like that. You know, you get to travel the world, you get to see different places, you know, when you're stationed in, you know, different countries and stuff like that. So, and then the lifetime benefits, I mean, you get a check for the rest of your life from being in the army. You know, the savings plan, what's it called, TSP or whatever, the savings plan you get is good, like that retirement, like whatever package, you get that. So I think it's a good thing to do as a young person if you don't know what to do with yourself. If you don't know what to do with yourself and you seem lost, or you just trying to get away from your family, and you trying to just start your life over and become more disciplined, maybe you are somebody who's had a rough life and you just want a different change, you know, like a very immediate change. So so you know, joining the army can be, joining the Navy probably be better. There's tiers to it. I think the Army's at the bottom, and then you got the Navy, and then the Air Force. The Air Force people get treated better than, I think the Air Force people get treated better than the Army people. So, you know, you have your pick. I mean, whatever you qualify for. But the Army can be a great thing to join so you can become more independent, especially if you're trying to escape your crazy family. If you're trying to escape your crazy family, that may be the go-to thing to do. Then you can just immediately become more independent. Hey Trinity, how you doing? You can become way independent, but there, like you said, there's pros and cons to being in the army or being in the military. But from my opinion, from my perspective, my daddy was in the army. He had a good life. My stepfather was in the army. He has a good life. You know, he was able to get a house and all that kind of stuff, and you still get a check every single month, you know what I mean, just from being in the army. So, you know, it kind of disciplines you. So if you're a person that's not well disciplined, that may be the thing to straighten you out. You don't gotta do all this swimming and water training in the air. That's what I'm talking about. You know what? One of my uncles was supposed to join the Air Force. He was in the army. He was he was in the Air Force. He was in the Air Force, and he was in the Air Force for a good amount of time, and he had to go take a test. And whatever test it was, I don't know what kind of test it was, but he missed out. He was supposed to take the test, and he walked out of the testing room to go use the bathroom. And then whatever test it was, it put him out the army because out of the Air Force because he wasn't present to take whatever test it was. It messed him up. So then he got put out. You would not join the army? What are you talking about? What about the jet fighter? Are you upset that the troublemaker Jesse J? What the hell are you talking about? What we ain't talking about Jesse J? We talking about the military. The Air Force gets paid the most. That's what I think. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Go with where the money at. I don't know what the qualifications are. You got to take a higher level of testing to get into the Air Force or something. there must be some testing things that determine whether you go Air Force, Navy, or whatever. You know what I mean? It must be some superior testing going on. I was in the Army in 1940. That's what I'm talking about, JB. Some people have good experiences. I mean, some people had bad experiences, but for the most part, all my daddy's friends that was in the Army, they all got houses, they all have a good life. You know what I mean? They all have, they had all their experiences. They went all over the world. They went different places. So, I mean, if you a person who needs to be disciplined, you know you bad as hell. And before you go to jail, I think it's better to just join an organization where your life can be set. You know what I mean? That's what I think. I think if you are a troublemaker out here and you having problems, you need to get away from your life, then you need to go on and join the army and set your life up in some kind of direction. At least you can go to school. At least you can. Why is the light all bright also? At least you can. What's in my hair? At least you can go to school. What is that in my hair? I don't know. Anyway, at least you can go to school in the army. You know what I mean? You can go to school. You can go become a data, IT, whatever. You can do all of that in the army. So I would do that. I think the Army, Air Force, Navy, whichever one you choose, I think is great for young people to join something that can make an impact, a positive impact on their life. You know, especially if you're trying to get away from your crazy family. Go do something. Go do something else. My daddy used to live in, my daddy's from Georgia, and his family was always, to him, he would always say, they uneducated and stuff like that. He would say crazy stuff like that. He said, oh, they have dirt floors down there and all that. And I think living that way made him want to go out and try something else. And that's probably why he joined the army, to get away from living down in Georgia with the dirt floors or whatever I was like, how would you live in a house with dirt floors? But that's what he said. So my uncle was a cook, and that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Just be a cook. You can be anything in the army. You could be anything. But my daddy ended up being an accountant. He went to school to be an accountant while he was in the army, and then he ended up working for the finance center here in Indiana. And he had a good life. He had good time, had good friends, He had some ups and downs personally, but it didn't have nothing to do with the army. You know what I mean? It didn't have nothing to do with the army itself. The army set him up for life, so he could just live I would say like an easy life. All he had to do, he worked at the finance center, and that's it. That's it. He didn't have a whole bunch of stresses about money because he was set. You would be a medevac in the military. That's what I'm talking about. They should have gave me a chance. If they would have gave me a chance, I could have been a scientist or something in the army. I could have been a military warhead. The people that work on the missiles and stuff, I could have been that. I could have been your missile person. Thank you, John. Yeah, I could have been a missile person or something in the army. They could have gave me a chance. I could have been anything. But that's my family's always been a military family, so I have a different perspective than everybody else. I know a lot of people don't like military stuff, but I don't want to join the military. I don't want to join the military, but you get a check for the rest of your life, so why not? I mean, why not? If you ain't got nothing else to do, you ain't got nothing to lose, you ain't got nothing else to do. Now, there's a chance you might have to go to war. I don't know these days, but I don't know. That going to war, I think, is kind of slim these days. I don't know. I don't know if you're gonna have to go to war, but who knows? I don't know these days. Life is at this moment a little bit unpredictable. So for years people didn't have to go to war like that. I think my stepfather went to. I don't know. I think he went to one, but he didn't have to do. He had to fight in it or something. I don't know. I don't know what he did. I can't remember. But if you need to be disciplined and you need to pivot and change direction, that might be the direction to go into. So you ain't gotta pay rent and all that kind of stuff. You just do the work of the military or whatever. If you a troubled person, try to do something that's going to benefit you in the long run. It don't have to be army. It don't have to be military. It just has to be something that's going to give you some type of benefit later on. Yeah, see, you at Trinity, you can do all kinds of stuff. That's what I'm talking about. Hey, Michaela, how you doing? You know what I mean? You could do all kind of stuff in the army, in the military. So it's not just you walking around with a gun on your back, strapped up all the time, looking like the police. I mean, you could do all kind of stuff in the military. But just do something. If you a troublemaker and you bad as hell, you gonna end up in jail one of these days, or you been in jail. Fix your life. Go do something else. Go do something positive with yourself. Turn your drug dealer aspirations into being an accountant. Go do that. Count somebody else's dollars. You know what I mean? You gotta learn how to pivot. Use your skills to better